Me, let's go.
Because it's such a work.
This is like a very very close up of me.
Find everywhere.
It's
It is because I don't even look good.
to me, I'm all show. I am currently. I'm touching. You like the oil there?
I came in here and they tested it, so everything.
It's like,
Stretching. How are you? And you're here. You love that. Hello.
it's.
Yes, I'm Sean. I'm the one that emailed you. Yes, thank you for coming in.
Hey, John.
It's nice to meet you. If you would like to sit, on any of the side chairs, there's an agenda. One of the first things we'll talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for coming in. What's that? This cup always falls apart. It came with my jacket, so I didn't like it first, but it was the best of the years.
Meeting to order, move to roll call.
Senator Aponte. Here. Senator Bundy.
Here.
Senator Burns.
Here.
Senator Cloutier. Here. Senator DeJesus. Senator Jokuto.
Here.
Senator Goyette. Senator Hunt.
Present.
Senator Kelly. Senator Mank. Here. Senator Powers.
Present.
Senator Sayre.
Here.
Senator Walker. Here. Senator Van Zandt. Here. Chairperson Barrett Miller. Here. Chairperson Kaufman.
Present.
Chairperson Peralt. Chairperson Stichter. Here. Secretary Heaney. Vice President Riley.
Present.
And President Outward.
Present. All right, welcome everybody. I hope you all had a fantastic break. Feels like it went by very quickly. And then congrats to all of the second semester seniors, including myself. It's our last semester. Quickly before we start, over the break, this is our first meeting. If anybody does have any questions or concerns that they heard over break that they do want addressed or for us to look into, feel free to bring that up in this meeting. But I'm very excited for this semester. We have a few more months left of this term, and there's a lot of great things that we can do. So, motion to accept the minutes from the 12/5/2023 meeting.
Second.
Are there any additions, deletions, or revisions? All right, hearing none, move to voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Those abstaining? Motion passes. Okay, moving into new and existing business. First thing I want to talk about is the new sound and visual system that we're testing out here. OIT and Audiovisual was very kind to get this set up as a test run for this meeting. So we'll see how this system works. That's why we're moved down here today, because they have this camera here. But this should pick up, the person speaking more, although it's not picking me up speaking. So we'll go to the kinks out. But I'm very excited about this. If it works, we'll keep it in here. All right. So first item on the agenda is SharePoint and Connect to You. So for those of you who have been into the new Connect to You, it's through SharePoint now, so it's a different system. So we'll talk about that. But before I get into that, I do want to say, I know I said this in the group me, but Scott Coopy, the head of OIT, is no longer with the institution. I brought in a couple of individuals from OIT to want to introduce themselves and speak about just the new SharePoint, why we switched to it, and all of that. So I'll hand the floor over to you and we'll allocate 10 minutes to this discussion. So introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm John O'Malley. I'm the Director of Customer Support. Basically, anything client services side, anything I can touch or see, or the service desk can go through my team.
And I'm Leslie Margolis. I'm the new interim chief information officer. So I'm so thrilled to be here and would love to hear your feedback and your input. We're going to be moving forward, trying to look at what we have holistically around the campus and, what's going to make it really a thriving environment for us from a technology standpoint. So open to all of your ideas. We want to build that strategic architecture for the future and be moving forward with it. With respect to SharePoint, you may or may not know, Connect2You went down. It was actually on a SharePoint platform through our Illusion colleague system originally from years ago. The version that we were on was unsupported. There was a Microsoft update. The update corrupted a portion of it. The certificate was getting ready to go expire, and we couldn't even get to that. And so we had to make the decision, okay, how are we going to resolve this, right? With everyone coming back. So our best solution was to move aggressively forward to the cloud-based SharePoint supported environment. So hopefully you're seeing new features and things that you like. And in addition to that, it's now secure and on the supported platform. So ideally, we would be informing you of changes well in advance. But this was more of an emergency situation, and we felt like it would be better to get the system up and ready for everybody coming back to school to move aggressively on it. So that's what we did.
Okay, thank you. I'm grateful that it did go down before the semester started, so probably good timing in that regard. All right, I'll open the floor. Does anyone have any questions or comments about the new SharePoint or any suggestions, anything like that? I'll hand it over to Vice President, Chairperson, and the Senator.
So you kind of alluded to like new features with the SharePoint platform. Are there any like new specific features that students should be aware of as they're navigating the new system to make it easy to access?
That would be on Mark,
Okay.
because I know we just covered that.
We'll take that action item and come up with any specifics from the person who's really the expert on the system. I know that he was very excited about it, but I don't know them in detail.
Thank you so much.
Chairperson Barnhill.
So I book a lot of events, especially on behalf of Senate, and I wanted to say I like the new platform and I find it very easy to use when it comes to event scheduling. Before we would email like Eddie or Kathy Ribbit to schedule events, and they just referred me to the new SharePoint event scheduling system. It's super easy to use.
Wonderful. Thank you for that feedback.
I second that. I've done the same.
Yeah, something I'll definitely encourage you all to look into is the new, because it's CourseDog, correct?
Yeah.
Is the system? Yeah, it's a new event scheduling system, which I'm super excited about. I know the old, it was ESS, event scheduling system, something like that, but it was kind of hard to read. So I know this, I say go into Connect2You SharePoint and look at the new event scheduler and look at it. Some of the events are displayed a little bit clearer with posters and stuff like that. So take a look at it.
So I know with the old Connect2You, there was some sort of like mobile app, I think it's called WME Mobile, that made it easier to access on mobile devices. And I was wondering if there was some sort of like system.
I would assume so. but
I
do
would
you know?
think so. I know we haven't got to that point yet because we're in the process of getting it back up. But we can definitely look at that.
Absolutely. So we'll check into these details and come back to you with the information.
Great question.
The floor remains open for any questions or comments on this topic. All right, thank you. Thank you for coming in. Look forward to hearing the updates. All right, moving to Welcome Center project updates. So there are renovations going on in the Welcome Center right now. And I did ask someone from Finance 7 if they sent you the email to update on this topic. So I asked Dave to speak a little bit to this. And we did get an email a while ago where all the offices moved to, because there was some moving around, and I can share that more later. But I'll hand the floor to you to discuss that. We'll have 10 minutes for this discussion.
Thank you, Sean. The simple thing is everybody that was on the ground, the first floor, moved up to the second floor. So nobody really went off. The only thing you may have noticed is they kind of took a little corner of the dining commons so that they could meet with groups for tours, so that they had a place to kind of rally and meet. But other than that, there really hasn't been much campus impact. The project's going really well. Demolition is about 95% complete. The only real remaining demolition you'll see is when they cut the new entrance in on the side of the building facing the dining commons. So right now they're just working through, all the mechanical work that has to be done. And once that is all in place, they'll start framing it up and putting it back together. It's it's about a 1-year project. I mean, I'm going to say I feel like it's going to go a good solid 11 months. So we should start to see it all come together, around November, December. But it's going along really well. And as we, if any folks want to, we could maybe coordinate a tour. We'll have to get some hard hats set aside. But if we want to talk about it, because I think it's kind of cool to see it once the whole inside is all gutted out, just to kind of see what the bones look like when it's all opened up.
So is the renovation just on the first floor, or is it the whole building?
It's predominantly the ground floor, the first floor, with the exception of a few things. One of the things that we were forced to do was upgrade the fire alarm system, so there'll be new devices throughout the entire building, and then just other than the atrium space, which kind of that kind of gets refreshed. But that's about it. Really nothing else upstairs.
And was it primarily admissions that was down there? I don't remember what else was there.
I believe that you are correct. It was also, and then there was part of the Welcome Center group as well.
Okay.
Right.
And so what's going in there now?
So I think what might be good is to come back and kind of show you some slides of it. But it's going to be a bit of a shared space. There'll be interview space down there. One of the cool things that there's going to be is kind of a multi-purpose space that can be used for functions and or closed off and broken up into smaller meeting type space. Yes.
But this, I think it's important to note that the focus though is for it to be the Delbridge Career Center. So the idea is to place around the world and gather for professional development. So if you imagine that we maintain, which opens up some space up here, some of those things we've been talking about, like student offices and stuff. So that's why this is all of these are connected. But specifically, we move the suits kind of career stuff, like your interview, a professional development conference. Like we might have Mass Mutual might come in and use the space for one of their day-long leadership retreats for them. In which case, we might say, well, while you're here, maybe introduce some of our students. They may come in here and ask us to do a professional workshop on something that one of our faculty members do. While you're here, maybe you could be with our students. Or we could rent the space out, or we can host things for you. So for example, we are imagining, it's very, Leslie, the technology of it is supposed to be to make sort of feel like you're real live, where like you would have an alumni from California do a session for you in that room, like do a mentor meeting or a panel, because a lot of times people come to campus. This would make it easier to do more virtual stuff. So it sort of should represent to you like the future of what the future office looks like, is the whole purpose of that space. And the vision was really developed by Kevin Delbridge, who was the giver of both the original building, but then this building that some people in this room I think have met. And Kevin and Sandra are really committed to students' careers and your graduating and like being able to change the trajectory of your lives and the lives of your families. They've done a really cool story. So it's a space that tries to respect that vision of like career development and corporate partnerships. And yeah, it's very cool.
Thank you. And then another question. So I know they're doing work on the first floor of Deliso. So do you know who's going in there? Like that space that used to be payroll?
That would be marketing.
Marketing, okay.
Because they got kicked out of the second floor.
Okay.
And that's her words.
Okay, so once everything is all moved, we should focus on, or we should think of just ways so that if a student is looking for marketing, like they'll know that things have changed. So like even like social media posts online and stuff like that. So we can get all that shifting around information. All right. The floor is open for any questions or comments on this topic. Yes, Senator Hunt.
I think going back to that, you mentioned like how you were throwing like the Delbridge, the career center over there. Are you guys also gonna use like the WNE Instagram to where you can advertise it, to show like this is where it is now, as well as like the new marketing building? Like we can do stuff on our own end, but I was like, if you guys are gonna do like things on your own end to like have use the WNE Instagram, just try to get many words as possible out there.
Love that. Teach me how. I'll do it.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? The floor is still open. Hearing nothing, the discussion will expire. Thank you so much. All right, moving to Rivers Committee updates. I don't have any updates, but I want to ask anyone in the committee if they have any updates. Has the committee met? Yes, Vice President.
So there's no one on Senate, I believe, is on the committee. It's just a bunch of student leaders or Senator Powers, my apologies, I didn't see you there, but who can also speak to it. But I will say that Cole Strzelecki is going to be the Senate liaison for the committee. So he will be coming in every week or so to give us updates on that committee. I don't believe that they have started meeting yet, but I know Christine can kind of speak to that a little bit more. Akila, I don't know if you want to speak on anything.
Yeah, I just know we were trying to focus on the campus center first and
Yeah.
to get that like rolling over break, that committee, making sure that was meeting before we jumped into Rivers stuff, so we haven't met yet.
Are you on both committees?
Yes.
Okay.
She is.
Which is great. That,
Yeah.
because there's so much crossover.
Mhm.
So to have at least a couple of people overlapping, I think is good.
Thank you. Look forward to any other updates on that. All right, moving to Campus Center Committee updates. I know that Senator Blanca Amaya is our liaison for that, but she is not here today. She's working at the event at CCA. Are there any updates for this committee of what's happened over winter? Yes, with the Vice President. And then Senator.
Yeah, so we've been meeting pretty regularly once a week all throughout winter, but just discussing our needs, wants, and hopes as Vice President Bennett wanted us to do for the first floor of the campus center. We've come up with a lot of great ideas. We've met with Dave and Christine and Bridget a couple of times over break as well, just to kind of like answer, how to ask questions and just to kind of get a better vision of like timelines and stuff for this project, what goals that they wanted us to kind of like focus on and stuff like that. But yeah, we got some good stuff.
Perfect. Thank you. Senator Hunt.
Going off like the back of Vice President Riley, we have been meeting every week. We have been discussing on like some really good ideas of where to put a lot of the spaces and like what to do with some of the spaces too, what that's in Campus Center right now in the first floor. But yeah, that's all I needed to update.
Perfect. Thank you. The floor remains open for any other questions. All right. Sounds good. Moving into election committee establishment. So it's hard to believe it's time to start planning the next cycle of elections. So I did form a tentative group on GroupMe. So with the election committee, it is a constitutionally chartered committee. And what the precedent has been is anyone who is not running again next election is expected to be a participant of this committee. So all of the graduating seniors I've added to this to a GroupMe. But if any of you are not running again next semester and haven't been added to the GroupMe, please see me. I'll add you. We've talked about doing elections a little differently this year, having much more time for packet sign out and campaign time, stuff like that. So thinking either early end of January or very early February, having election packets go out. So there's like, at least a couple weeks for, a gathering of signatures and then ample time for campaigning if there are any contested elections. So it'll be a bit more extended this year. I know I've heard a lot of concerns about it has felt very, condensed in the past. So I'm even looking at doing info sessions, stuff like that. But I just wanted to notify you that the committee is in the process of being up and running, and you'll hear some updates in the come. Are there any questions or comments regarding the election committee? Yes, Senator Hudson.
What do you mean by like Q&A? Are you like gonna just have like a couple sessions where if upcoming like future senators that want to become senators have like any questions, they like ask you and like, okay, this is how it works and all that?
Yes. So I was thinking one is maybe dedicate a meeting for anyone who's interested and really advertise like, hey, want to be part of Student Senate, come to a meeting to see it. But then also have a separate info section. I know I've been wanting to do that in the past, but this year I really want to do. So a couple nights, if anyone's interested, they come. I'll learn about what Senate does. I know it's difficult when they get the election packet, trying to figure out right then and there, like, oh, what constituency do I represent? So you can have something like that to answer all those questions. So So yes. All right, any other questions or comments? All right. Is there anything else for new and existing business? All right, move to visitors' comments. Are there any visitors' comments?
So glad you're here. We missed you. I am working on different things with Sean, so I wanted to, and I'll meet with the executive board more on Thursday, so we'll have more for you next week, but I do want you to know that a group of about 70 of us, Leslie was there, Dave, Bridget, there were a few of us, 70 faculty and staff met for 2 days last week for a dedicated time with a company called Incorporated Collaboration Inc. And there'll be some release of like a fact book, but the whole point of us getting together was to improve efficiencies for the student experience, to increase our graduation rates, so that students, don't leave here with no degree and debt. And so I'm going to be coming to you because I really want to hear I'm going to have some very specific questions for you. And so I'd like to start thinking about them now, but more information after we meet this week. But for example, if while it's fresh in your mind, if you know people who left this semester, didn't come back, why? Because they don't really tell us. We try to get it from them, but we don't get accurate information. So if you have that information, we would like it. In addition, what I'm trying to spread the word about is that I want students to feel like and believe they can text or call me, but there's 50 texts. I've been giving out my business cards. If you don't have one, if you don't have my phone number in your phone, put it in, because what I'm telling students, I want 3 pieces of information. Number 1, things that make you go WTH, or another acronym if you'd like to use it, but we're again trying to be professional here. But like when you look at something on campus, you go, what the heck? Why is that like this? Why do they do it like this? This is so stupid for students. Like what is wrong? Like what, like, you know what I'm talking about? Like those pain points you come up against and you're like, why is it like this? I want to know that. Second thing is when you have exhausted all options and you still haven't got an outcome that sort of helps you towards graduation, you or others. It's all about graduating, right? Is that why you came? How many of you came here just to take courses for a couple of semesters, right? That's what I asked the transfers. Right? People come here to graduate. What's getting in the way of you being really able to successfully graduate? And then the last thing, again, things that would make things just better, would make things just better. So while it's fresh, somebody does the beginning of every semester, and it doesn't mean you can't cover these things all semester. But my guess is these things are fresh in your mind because you had the break. Go home and you came back thinking about this and you heard things. So I will figure out a way to get this information from you, whether it be electronically or conversation or meeting, but I'd like you to start thinking about that. And so, because I was delighted, people to see that 70 people, faculty, staff, administrators, different levels, we were all in this room for 16 hours, just committed to coming up with better processes that benefit students. It's great. That's all I've got, except if there's anything you have for me, I'm happy to answer your questions, or if there's anything on your mind right now, that I should know that's not going well, or make you feel better. I'll be people.
I'll start out with opening the floor. If anybody has any questions or comments they would like to say to recipients.
Just a thing in general, I guess this is specifically for commuter students, because I know a lot of them come here and going into their first year, they have a job and stuff already. If there's any way for any very important events for them to be at, for them to get 3 weeks notice, because that's how most jobs work, that'd be very, very good going forward.
Right, because a lot of them have off-campus jobs too, and they need to tell, I need to stay off for a reason. Thank you.
Yes, Senator Cleaver.
I have something that's like very specific to the beginning courses. I have an online class and I just got the Kodiak that said, like, these are the books that you're actually going to need. But going to the bookstore, it's really backed up and delayed. I'm not sure what you have over that, but like I need to get an online textbook that's like I have to complete work by the end of the week, but they're backed up for like the next 48 hours or something is what they said today.
We're down there right after this meeting.
It's something, and they said it's all around for like the online textbooks and things like that. That's pretty backed up.
I will go down there and then communicate with the purpose of it.
Any other questions or comments? Yes, Senator Ponte.
A lot of what I hear just in general from people transferring, people who have graduated, anything like that is the burnout specifically amongst all student leaders that feel that they put their all into the school and, you know, they don't get a ton out of the experience that they were looking for, the experience that they were promised when they, you know, first came to SOAR. And that's honestly the number one thing that I hear is that I was, you know, overpromised something and I didn't receive what it was that I was experiencing that first day I stepped on campus.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? All right, yeah, so we'll definitely have a follow-up conversation on this, and then I might even have like an ability for you to, you know, share things, you know, anonymously or something like that if you have things you want to say but don't want to say it here with a poll or something. I think stuff like this is important because if we identify, like you're saying with the bookstore, and then what Senator Ponte said, if we can identify these, you know, things that are causing students to have a bad experience and we could, you know, provide solutions for it, it'll make, you know, it'll enhance the student experience. So, definitely. All right, any other visitors' comments? All right, perfect. Moving to committee reports, starting with academic secretary, but our academic secretary is not here right now. Does anybody have anything academic related? Move to finance committee. Move to legislative committee.
Yeah, so not too much happened over the break. I did take on a little project of a Robert's Rules cheat sheet, which was handed out to all of you today. Feel free to utilize this going forward in Senate. If you look up something else that I did not put on there because there's 1,000 different motions that you could possibly use, feel free to use that too. But these were just some of the most important ones that I saw and that were on older Senate documents that Vice President Riley brought to my attention. I also put in examples and stuff. So if you're ever wondering how exactly, like, or if you hear me use them or someone else use them and you're confused about it, please refer to this too. In terms of club related activities, there were 2 students that were looking to start a Jewish student association on campus over break. Haven't heard much since the beginning of break, but I will be reaching out to them this week to see how that is going. I am looking to start or restart WNE bowling. So if you're interested, let me know. Definitely be a lot of fun. Still working out how exactly that's going to work though. But yeah, nothing else to report.
Something I want to say in this committee report, the president of the class of 2026 council did resign. Senator Blanca Amaya was the legislative committee member who was overseeing this because Chairperson Kaufman is a member of the council. So just to prevent a conflict of interest, she oversaw this, but I'm just showing this for her. We did receive a copy of the resignation letter this morning. And so next week we'll invite someone in from the council to report on the process for succession and all of that. But I just want to notify you all. Does anybody have any questions about that? I want to thank you for making this resource document. I know with Robert's rules, it can seem like a lot to learn. I'm still trying to learn them. But the importance of Robert's rules is they can help ensure an effective meeting, a fair meeting. So, and if you have any, questions, if you want to just try something, you're not entirely sure, feel free. We'll work, help the experts of Robert's rules and work through things. But it's important to use. So thank you. Thank you for making this. All right. Anything else for legislative committee?
Yeah, I will.
Perfect. Move to campus relations committee.
Alrighty, so, not a lot. I think the campus relation committee is going to meet sometime soon, just to discuss our goals for this semester. And, Chairperson Marshall does wish everyone a happy first week of classes.
Thank you. Anything else for campus relations committee? All right, move to public relations committee.
So I'm going to start off with one of the big events that we have going on this semester is Clash of the Classes. I talked a lot about it last semester. It is a school unity event for each of the classes to compete for their class council to gain an additional $2,000 additional allocation. And these participating and spectating members of the class will also win custom apparel if the class wins. This is going to be taking place in the Healthful Living Center on February 17th of 2024 from 8 to 10. I really would appreciate all of your guys' help when it comes to day of for volunteering. I'm gonna be putting the volunteer form in the group me, so if you don't mind signing up for even if it's an hour or two, I'd really appreciate it. Additionally, the e-board office hours, we just got them approved and I'm waiting for the poster to get approved, so it's officially out, but I'm gonna put that in group meet too. So if you need any of us, we have the office hours available. That's what it is.
Thank you. For Clash the Classes, that event, your attendance will be mandatory. It'll be the same as a Senate meeting. If you don't attend, it will be an unexcused absence and we'll carry it that way. If you know now you cannot be there, please let me know in advance. This is a really important event and it's one of my favorites. In the past, Clash the Classes was something that I think was done more than 10 years ago. And then it shifted to Midnight Madness, which was a dancing competition. But this is a really, I think the importance of this event is it brings the councils together. Because there are the 4 councils and even just the general student body of the classes. If we all, help out Lydia with this and work together, we can put on a really, really good event, which you've done very well. So thank you for all that work we're doing. In the past, the councils used to do an all council event where they would all get together and again, just put on an event. So, this is a way for them to all get together, but they don't have to do the work of the planning because councils are very busy. So, we kind of take that on, but it's a very important event and, please help us go out there and build excitement for it. I'm excited. So anything else for public relations committee? Thank you. All right, move to campus activities board.
Welcome back, everyone. Great beginning of the semester. More announcement, our director of finance stepped down, so we have 2 positions available at the board, director of finance and director of membership. And if you are interested in applying, the application is in the WCAB Instagram, and it's a great resume booster. It's a great experience to do, and real world experience. Like you could apply to your interviews. Like I managed $100,000. Like it's definitely gonna have a leg up, especially with because people for the finance part. And we have our first event this Saturday. It's Golden Bird Galaxy. If you like laser tag and want a free sweatshirt, you should definitely come on by 8 to 10 in Rivers. And yeah, those are the dates.
Thank you. Yeah, if you have any friends in the College of Business, nudge them that position because as she said, that's the thing. And it's a very, it's very rewarding work being a treasurer for an organization. So, all right, thank you. Anything else for Kat? All right, move to spring event committee.
So for spring event, I'm just gonna give some broad details as to where we are right now. We're currently looking into the last weekend of April for spring event to be held, and we're currently in some of the draft stage.
Oh, yeah, it's all waiting here, guys.
Thank you. All right, anything else for spring event committee? Any questions, comments? All right. Thank you. Moving to representative reports, starting with class of 2024.
So just an update about graduation. We are currently discussing possible transportation to the Mass Mutual Center since it is on campus. So I will keep you guys updated when I know more about that. And then also an event happening is 100 days till graduation, which is February 8th between 7 and 9 in Rivers.
Thank you. Anything else for class of 2024? All right, move to class of 2025.
So, a few quick updates. The council has been granted a career center liaison under the new constitution that has been proposed. Class president, Jacqueline Brown, has been in contact with Patty Goff regarding connecting the junior council to the career center better and brainstorming ideas just in general, how to get classes and students more connected and feel less intimidated by the career center. The class of 2025 that vice president has chosen to resign as of January 16th. They have a golden hours date set of March 9th and a junior class event of April 9th.
Sorry, what did you say about a resignation? Who's resigning?
Vice president.
Anything else for class of 2025? Move to class of 2026. And liaison is not here today.
No, right.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry. I think it's being in this new seat. I don't know where anyone is, so even though I'm in the same place, but okay, sorry.
Okay, so as Sean mentioned, our president has officially resigned. We are working internally as an e-board to come up with a plan to fill that empty e-board spot. Other than that, we have our Golden Hours event scheduled for March 1st, I believe. But otherwise, we're just wishing everyone a restful break and a happy first week.
And just to say again that Senator Blanca Maya is, working with the council, kind of overseeing this process, just to make sure that all constitutional procedures are followed. The same way that Camden would, but it's just he's a member of that council. So thank you. Any questions for the class of 2026 or any other comments? All right, seeing none, move to class 2027. One thing I want to say to the class of 2027, so the university had them do the Clifton Strengths assessment, and other PAs were part of that. And I was, so they had the PAs, help with that, but I thought I was very excited about the idea of doing something like that. There wasn't much attendance, but I'm hoping in years to come that there is more attendance with that kind of leadership activity. So what this Clifton Strengths thing was all freshman students, and the PA said it too, took a long survey, and it was through Gallup. And at the end of the survey, it said your top 5 strengths. And then from there, it was just, it was a discussion on like being introspective and stuff like that. But were you guys there? Do you guys have any thoughts on how that went?
Yeah, I was still home working, so I wasn't able to attend.
I think it'd even be cool, like, say down the road, like for clubs and stuff to do things like that. Because when I went on my accounting conferences last year with Deloitte and PwC, they had us do those exact same things. So they are very important, and I would love to see, that incorporated more in the future. But all right, anything else for class of 2027? Oh, yes.
Can I just go off that? Would you think that if we had I don't know, time slots that were set up, I think everybody besides freshmen, I would totally do that as a senior. So maybe if we set up different times where you can sign up, I think it would be a good idea.
That's a good idea, yeah. Because I feel like maybe upperclassmen would have more of an excitement about something like that, but that's the thing, I was very excited about it, and I'd love to see it more incorporated.
It
But
might be helpful to build your resume because sometimes you list your strengths on there. So
yes,
Yeah, that's a very, very popular interview question too. That's something that was brought up during both the PA training and when we actually did it. That one of the number one questions that employers will ask you is, what are your strengths? And this literally lists them for you.
anything else about class 2027 or this Clifton Strengths? All right, perfect. Moving on to resident representative.
So I didn't really write anything to the report. I think one thing I would just have to say is what the freshmen were invited to on Sunday. I think in my opinion, I think there was a lack of communication about that. So that's why a lot of the freshmen did not show up. And so they thought they were assuming that they can just move in anytime on Sunday rather than they can move on Saturday, but they have to go to these things on Sunday.
So those things are for you.
To add on to what Caleb just said, I think he was spot on with the communication aspect. It wasn't really clear that the events were it wasn't even clear what time they were at or where they were at, in my opinion. And it seemed like people were just kind of arriving at any time on Sunday and weren't really sure they had to go to those things and stuff like that. So I think that was a big part of it.
For clarifying that. I was wondering why. It's so long. I didn't. I was wondering what they sent out to you to know.
I think there was 1 or 2 emails that said something about it, but it didn't. It said this is the link for the Clifton Strengths test. This is
okay.
it was just a really long email that I'm sure a lot of people didn't read.
Thank you for that. Vice President.
The email both, and thank you for doing that. I didn't know if this was true or not about residents on campus not being informed of an actual like specific move-in date, to move in, that would actually coordinate with the activities that were planned for that weekend. I don't know. If you had an answer on that?
Find out. It's really good to hear, because we'll figure it out.
Senator Powers.
Okay, going off of this as class of 2027, we were sent the same like 5 minutes of scrolling email 3 times. It was the exact same thing, and then it was in the midst of all the crazy like, oh, we're doing this day with all like the focus things, and that's where the link was thrown in there. And of course, when you're looking through all that, you might start skimming a little bit. And I was unaware of the time we had to be back here until like maybe Friday night. Like then I finally found it somewhere, and it was like too late for me to like back out of something like open article for this or something. Yeah, so it was just kind of like getting it the message out there was a little unclear for some.
Anything else with classes? Oh, sorry, resident representative. I have a question. I don't know if you know the answer to this, but because for Res Life, I've heard a few concerns of students. So they have like suites, like say Southwood style, where it's multiple rooms, and they'll have a vacant room in that suite, and someone will be assigned to the room, but they're not notified. So there'll be situations of people going to back to their suite, and there'll just be someone there. Do you know what the precedent is if someone needs to be notified or not?
Yeah, so I think that there's a couple of things, and this, again, I've been in housing like that. So what we should be telling people is that anyone, if you have an open space, anyone can move in at any time. So that's the baseline, because if we said anything but that, students could sort of make it difficult for someone to move in. You know what I mean? And you would never want to, there are people who are in emergency situations who need a place to live. So we say to people, if you can fill it yourself, then you don't have to worry about that. Whenever possible, though, you should be notified that someone's moving in. I would even add that, well, I'm going to talk to Amanda about this. I don't know if we're doing this already, but we could even sort of, for example, next to your room, put notes in THD. If someone's assigned here, text, right? So we can make it even easier for you. So I'd like to do is come up with a way to figure out that it's not just like an email, and by the time you get the email, someone's already moved in. So we'll figure that out and we'll be creative about it. But my only interests are that students are never felt like they can't move into the space. That's my number one interest. My second interest is that the people living in the space have ample notice of someone coming in. And then number 3 would be that people treat each other kindly in those scenarios, because if someone's moving in, they probably knew, or they're leaving a difficult situation. Did I capture the interest properly? If I did, please correct me. I'm happy to hear that.
Thank you. I see hands up. So we'll go with Senator Hunt and then Senator Taylor.
So backing off of what Christine was saying, so basically like you're not guaranteed like someone is not gonna live there, but I like your idea of like for THC when the housing selection is coming up, because it is coming up, just giving them the alert saying like, hey, by the way, you're not guaranteed that someone's not gonna live here, someone's probably gonna live here, because it is, if there's a roommate trouble in another apartment and they need to move, that is an option open for them. And an email is sent out like when there's a moving process happens. Usually the RD will send that email out to the resident in their respective areas. So yeah. So I think the people like new in the suite should be able to get it. I do not know for sure because I do not resident. I resident to a dorm, not a suite.
Because I noticed that students haven't gotten that email from the RD, because it's the instance of they're just walking in and someone is there. And I know that the way to find it is if you go on THD, you could see it there. But just like what like a recommendation that I would like to provide is that like if someone were being assigned to a room, even if you can't disclose the name, just saying that like, hey, within 24 hours someone's being notified. Just like I feel bad for the instance of like they do have like personal stuff out like that.
It's not good for anybody.
Yeah.
Be surprised.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
I think that's
I was
something.
a member for-
I think that's something good to bring up with Amanda about. Just giving like, hey, let's give the suite the heads up about that.
And I'll talk to Leslie, because automating something like that really would be great. And as soon as somebody gets put in, it just automatically sends. Right?
That'd be great.
Like an automatic email.
Yeah.
That would work.
Right?
And our Adirondack usually sends those.
Depending on people, because people then get busy with something else and they don't do it. So if you come, my new goal this semester also, anything that like simple as that, like let's automate it.
Very true. Your hand was up, you said.
This is more related to the quad, but I heard of 2 separate instances in just Burke where someone had paid for an individual room and then on Sunday, someone just like knocked on the door and was like, hey, I'm moving in with you. And there was no sort of like, there was no RA there, so the student had to just be like, hey, like, no, you don't live here. And it was just, it seemed very, like, I feel like there's some more instances because that was just in Burke. And I don't know, that was a little concerning that there was some sort of mix up with housing.
Berkshire, yeah, Berkshire's part of the quad.
Premium single
The
now.
quad concerns Berkshire, Franklin, and Hampton.
We'll chat more. Maybe we'll go. We'll talk about this on the way down.
All right, anything else for resident representative? All right, moving on to commuter representative. Does anybody have anything commuter? All right. Moving into senators' comments. Are there any senators' comments? Couple things that I want to talk about. So I said this in the group meeting, but Margaret Boyle, the former AVP assistant associate AVP of government affairs. Yep, and then some. So is now the new university chief of staff. So Kurt Hamakawa used to be the chief of staff before he retired. I will soon send out an email asking she could come into a Senate meeting because frankly, I don't really know what a university chief of staff does. I don't know the extent of your guys' knowledge. So I'll have her come in, but I was very excited about that. So congratulations to her. And then and I know you probably would have brought this up in your report next week, but for gym changes. So there were some changes in the gym over winter break. And I just want to ask if anyone has any feedback. Actually, could you briefly explain again like what the changes were?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a little bit, but so the varsity weight room as well as the general weight room were in the back of the HLC, like towards the gym and the wrestling. Now that is just varsity in the wrestling room, and the general weight room is now itself in the front where it's always been and dispersed between the racquetball courts, which again, it might sound a little scary, but I can promise you and guarantee that it's actually more square foot than you previously had. But I understand that it might be scary. So we're offering like, if you want to tour, if you want to understand a little more, we're happy to like walk people through and everything. And right now the new equipment is not in, but everything is moved. It'll be in over spring break and we'll have a fun little unveiling when everyone returns.
By the way, so I think it came up in one of these meetings. It now opens at 6 a.m.
Really?
Starting
Congrats for that. I did not know that.
There's like somebody in this group had said to me, why do we open at 7? We start classes today and I can't get there. I can't get showered. I can't go. So it's moved to 6 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now open
Awesome.
6 a.m. for all.
That's super exciting. We'll have to publicize that. That's super exciting. All right. Has anybody heard any like questions, comments about
Yeah,
that?
any concerns, definitely, I'd love to hear.
I've only heard like negative feedback regarding just the lack of new equipment. You know, some people are going over there and they're like, "Look, this is still the same stuff. Why'd they move it?"
Yeah.
And I'm assuring them, I'm like, I promise that like there's more stuff coming. It's not completely done yet. But I think if we just advertise a little more that yes, there is still more work to be done, then people would understand a little bit better. Because right now I'm just hearing a little bit of frustration.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that because that's exactly what's gonna happen. Like, we'll get all the new equipment in March. So if we can just kind of keep just being like, I'm so sorry for the wait, I totally understand, but this move itself is showing that like we mean business and it's happening just right over break, and that's when we're getting everything new. So yeah, if you don't mind just keeping like, it's gonna happen, but giving them the information, totally, that's gonna be very helpful. Thank you for saying it like that.
Anything else? Yes.
And can I connect with you after?
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else regarding this topic? And again, if anybody hears anything, please let myself or Senator Burns know, just so that if there are people have like, complaints about stuff, because it is a big change, we can kind of address it and see like what simple solutions there are and stuff like that, just to be proactive. All right, perfect. Any other senators' comments? All right, Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Those abstaining? Motion passes. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're,
Yeah.
I'm sure you know how